Let's be honest, Africa is overflowing with talent. We have Burna Boy, Wizkid, Davido, Diamond Platnumz, Rema, but there's one name that deserves way more love, way more respect, and way more spotlight than he's getting. And that name is Juma Jux, the man redefining Swahili R&B, the man whose voice melts hearts, and yet somehow, the world still sleeps on him. Today, we're not just talking music, we're talking about how Africa failed to give Juma Jux the recognition he truly deserves. So sit tight, hit that like button, and let's talk about the most underrated African artist right now. His sound is pure soul. Juma Jux doesn't make noise, he makes music. He's not chasing the latest TikTok trend. He's not repeating the same beats over and over. He creates timeless songs, smooth, romantic, emotional, and meaningful. When you listen to Jux, you feel the lyrics even if you don't understand Swahili. That's how powerful his delivery is. It's the kind of music that makes you close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just feel. He's bringing back real R&B in an Afropop world that's becoming too commercial. Songs like In Case You Don't Know, Unaniua, and Enjoy prove that he's not afraid to be vulnerable. He's giving us emotions, not just beats. And that's what makes him stand out, but ironically, that's also why the industry overlooks him. Because deep music doesn't trend as easily as noise. His brand, style and vision. Let's talk about his brand. Juma Jux doesn't just sing, he embodies luxury. His fashion game is on another level. From his suits to his accessories, he carries himself like a modern African icon. He even created his own clothing brand, African Boy, which is not just about clothes, but about identity. His redefining African luxury, clean, bold, classy, and unapologetically confident. While other artists are busy chasing attention, Jux is building an empire. He's showing young Africans that you can be stylish, cultured, and powerful, all while staying humble. And that's what's crazy. He's doing everything right, but the world still treats him like he's upcoming. This man's visuals are world-class. His music videos look like fashion films. He invests in every detail, yet the industry barely talks about him. The industry politics. Now let's be real, sometimes, it's not about talent. It's about politics. And in the African music industry, where you come from can determine how far you go. Let's call it out. Artists from West Africa get more global exposure because their industry has bigger investment, media backing, and global reach. Meanwhile, East African artists like Juma Jux, despite having world-class music, often struggle to break into those same international spaces. That's why when you mention Tanzanian music, people only think of Diamond Platnumz, forgetting that Jux has built his own lane, his own sound, his own kingdom. He doesn't need to copy anyone. But because he doesn't create controversy or chase clout, he gets ignored by the same media that hypes chaos. He's paying the price for being too real and too humble. His love story and resilience. We all remember his relationship with Vanessa Mdee, one of the most talked about love stories in East Africa. They were the power couple of the decade, two stylish, successful artists in love. Fans loved them, and their chemistry was undeniable. But when they broke up, everything changed. Vanessa moved on with Rotimi, and people thought Jux would fade away. But instead of drama, Jux stayed quiet and focused on his craft. He poured his heartbreak into his music. Songs like In Case You Don't Know became emotional therapy, not just for him, but for millions of listeners. He turned pain into purpose. And that's the mark of a true artist, one who channels emotion, not scandal. But again, the industry celebrates noise over honesty. That's why his story is inspiring, but also tragic. Because his consistency doesn't get celebrated enough. His international impact. Here's something most people don't realize. Juma Jux's fanbase goes beyond Tanzania. He's got massive love in Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, and even the US diaspora. He's collaborated with King Promise, Nyashinsky, Vanessa Mdee, Diamond Platnumz, and his tracks stream in multiple countries. But despite that, he's rarely mentioned when African R&B is discussed globally. If Juma Jux was from Lagos or Johannesburg, he'd be a household name already. That's how underrated he is. He's doing the work, but the spotlight isn't following him. Yet. Why he deserves more. So let's talk about why he deserves more. Juma Jux represents everything African music should stand for: originality, emotion, style, and vision. He's not trying to copy Western sound. He's showing that Swahili R&B has a global voice. He's consistent. He's classy. He's humble. He's not just making hits. He's creating legacy. But the sad truth? The music industry rewards drama more than dedication. That's why underrated artists like Jux don't get the awards, even though they create better music than half the charts. So here's the question. Is Juma Jux underrated, or is Africa just sleeping on real talent? Because when the noise fades and the clout dies, artists like Juma Jux will still be standing, because real music never expires. If you believe Jux deserves more recognition, drop her in the comments. Let's push this man's name to the world, because Africa's R&B king deserves his crown. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video so the world knows who Juma Jux really is, the most underrated African artist right now.